Management Agency. When Reagan was elected to the presidency, he installed Louis Giuffrida as head of Fema, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Giuffrida was an old cold warrior from Reagan's California days whose specialty was suppression of unrest and dissent. Giuffrida, North, and George Bush began to turn FEMA into an instrument of domestic anti-terrorism.
You're dealing with a group of people in the Reagan administration who equated political dissent with treason, and who cannot differentiate between emergency procedures, which I think everyone agrees are necessary, and suppressing political dissent. And with North and Poindexter and Casey, you had a group of people who saw Americans who disagree with them as the enemy.
Now, the key has been, in their planning, has been a war. A war, you have a national, security emergency. You can declare martial law. You can take emergency measures in war that you can't argue in peacetime. And this is where they were heading towards the invasion of Nicaragua. And it was derailed by not just the Iran-Contra scandal, although that definitely derailed it or postponed it, but also the break apart of the Reagan machine. There was just so much corruption. He had too many incompetent, wild men running the thing for him, dealing with people like Oliver North, when he should have had the Carlucci's in there to begin with, who would do about the same thing, but more credibly, more soberly, more sanely, with more credibility in the establishment. He was beginning to come apart last fall before the Iran-Contra thing crashed, brought him down to a point. Now the big question that we debate everywhere, I debate it everywhere, I discuss it with the Daniel Ellsbergs and David McMichaels as I travel, and lots of other people, is whether or not he will succeed in invading Nicaragua. And that's a horror unto itself. But I have the feeling that people miss the broader implications of this invasion when it happens. Now, the Christic Institute, this flawed affidavit, it has a segment on the Rex 84, the detention centers, the FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is part of this plan, which is to prepare detention centers and laws and an infrastructure across the country so that when they pull off the invasion, they will be able to sweep 400,000 people off the streets and throw them in detention centers.
Colonel North, in your work at the NSC, were you not assigned at one time to work on plans for the continuity of government in the event of a major disaster?
Mr. Chairman,
I believe that question touches upon a highly sensitive and classified area, so may I request that you not touch upon that, sir.
I was particularly concerned, Mr. Chairman, because I read in Miami papers and several others that there had been a plan developed by that same agency, a contingency plan in the event of emergency that would suspend the American Constitution. And I was deeply concerned about it and wondered if that was the area in which he had worked. I believe it was.
May I most respectfully request that that matter not be touched upon at this stage. If we wish to get into this, certain arrangements can be made for an executive session.
And tragically, the only member who got close was Jack Brooks, and he was stopped by the church.
Now, this one I asked the FEMA people, the sober ones there, if they really had this documented. Because we talked about this Rex 84 2 or 3 years ago, and the Spotlight had mentioned it, but it wasn't really proven. And they assured me, they said, yes, they have this one from top attorneys within FEMA who have admitted to it, and they got it documented.